Has this happened to you where you can't find the most recent version of your office policies? You can't remember all the reportable diseases in your state? Wish you wouldn't have to leave the exam room for an order form or your favorite patient education sheet that you created? Or you'd like to fill out hospital order forms or fill out a requisition efficiently in the exam room and have the hospital staff love you for it? Additionally, can't remember the contact name and number of a particular person? Then really the knowledge base is for you. So credit really has to go to PMSI, otherwise known as Physician Microsystems Incorporated. The history goes like this. It was created in 1998, and it was with version 7.05 that it first appeared, and it allowed for the introduction of many HTML-based documents for many uses. And it really hasn't changed since that time. Sit back and relax because I wrote an article back in 2003 called Develop Your Own Practice Intranet in the Journal of Family Practice Management. You can refer back to this at any time if you like, and here is the reference for the actual article. And in fact, it is a PDF on their website. You can get it there, or you can actually go to our EMR Village if you'd like. That will help you reference it if you need to in the future. We have many, many articles in the EMR Village, but also other resources, but in particular the file sharing part. Some important points about knowledge base or intranet development. Start simple. Walk before you run. Don't be in a hurry. And then start with the home page and add just a few critical documents that your office always uses the most. And then build from there, the so-called leapfrog effect. You can always delete things you don't like later.
When you develop a home page, just like in any good website development, make sure that anything you need is only 2 or 3 clicks away from the home page. The disabled browser with the knowledge base really is disabled, so you have to use the back button if you want to go back, and that's why it's important to have just 2 to 3 clicks. And remember the newspaper rule, that is 800 by 640 rule. Most newspapers have most of the eye-catching information in that half of the front page, and then they link to everything else, if you think about it, to the other pages in the newspaper. This is not a new concept. Keep it simple to prevent reader fatigue. Use pastels or a white background. Don't use too many different fonts. Keep them all the same. That is Times New Roman, Verdana, or Arial, but just keep it kind of consistent. Here's the concept. The home page, which is homepracticepartner.html, leads to a submenu that has hyperlinks that lead to the actual documents. That is, in this case, vasectomy setup. Here's a picture of our home page. Notice what we really did. Pastels. If you notice, the background is very similar to the buff color in Practice Partner. That's the actual hex code for that, FAFBBF, which most web development software can help you get very easily. And notice that we use the classic Windows interface as opposed to XP style. That allowed us to use the spruce, which is a little bit easier on the eyes than the hard blues. And our web page actually mimicked some of those colors again. The 640 by 480 rule really doesn't apply here, or excuse me, 800 by 640 rule really doesn't apply here because the knowledge base is hard-coded to be 700 by 600 pixels. So you have even less room. So you want to use a font that's sharp and small. And again, the actual space is about 674 pixels by 450 pixels. Less space, be consistent. The home page for the knowledge base is really in the P-part root directory, and that's the name, home.practicepartner.html. Warning, however, save that home page and save the other pages linked to it. Updates and versions from former versions actually would overwrite that. It doesn't happen as much anymore, but now you can point to other locations other than the setup home page by using the knowledge base browser. Read your documentation for this. All this basic HTML. HTML basically stands for Hypertext Markup Language, very similar to the old WordStar. Tag to start the particular formatting. an ending tag to end it with the stuff in between. Paragraphs, tables, lists, hyperlinks, many other things you can go to. Now, a word about image files. Which image files are supported? Well, we know JPEGs and GIFs are, and probably TIFFs and bitmap images, but PNGs are not supported with the knowledge base browser, although it's supported with Internet browser. What do you want it to do for you with the content? Well, we have it set up for 3 major resources: patients, staff, and physicians. Patient information. Well, it is a pain in the butt trying to find those handouts. A real quick and easy way, again, this is outside of the knowledge base browser, but you can use these to even import into your patient records knowledge base, is the clinical reference systems available through Practice Partner. Get that, and that's actually a actual pull down menu list item for patient education. It's easy, it works pretty well now, and it's very available. But you can develop your own. In fact, we developed an exercise heart rate calculator that you put in the age, and it'll put out the heart rate targets and where you want them, plus the information. Again, that was using PDF or Acrobat. But you can create and link in other documents also. In this case, we actually even linked in the AAFP Patient Info CD-ROM, which was available in PDF format. Since it used the Adobe Reader, we just linked it on in there in our subdirectory. And you can pull it from the web or the net. The familydoctor.org site is great. There are other ones like Medline Plus from NIH, and especially sites like OncoLink and others, which you can link in if you like them. We've gone further and created consent forms and other forms that patients use, including DMV forms from the Division of Motor Vehicles and DOT forms. List is endless. Calculators. In fact, we have a breast risk calculator that's in there along with our cholesterol calculator if you want to use them, and also the BMI calculator, although less needed now than it used to be in the older versions of Practice Partner. You want to have staff resources, the policies, the manuals, the procedures, and how to set them up, and perhaps a contact list, which you can do currently, but it's not that easy. But the policies and manuals and procedures are very important and will help your staff. The policies. Have the personnel policies in there. Have the computer policies and access to the internet policies. Things like that. How to log on. Manuals. Use pre-made manuals. Why not? It's in Adobe format, and Practice Partner has it, or PMSI, the old word term, and Driving Naturally Speaking. You can develop your own for that matter in PDF format or HTML. Doesn't matter. We have a lab interface protocol, just to name one. Why tell people to do it over and over again when you can create this? In fact, we sent the whole knowledge base on a CD-ROM with links to our new physician coming, and he's learning all about us by linking in there using Internet Explorer. It works. So here are a lot of examples. Now we'll show you a brief view of the vasectomy, which is a soup to nuts kind of approach, from scheduling to how you set it up with hyperlinks, as you see, to the scalpel and the angiocath, anything. It works so well and it's so easy. We in fact showed a setup for the endometrial biopsy. Put them all on the tray and take a picture of it. The staff can use that to visually look at that setup so they have it ready for you. I take a little bit of pleasure when staff come to me and say, I don't know how to set it up. We tell them, go to the knowledge base. Form management, we talked about that. The hospitals are forever creating forms, so why have them laying around in places where you really can't get to them? Scan them in or create facsimiles of those to use. The hospitals don't care, they just want to have legibility, for goodness sakes. We have admission orders in an HTML format, which we created, but you can scan them in, and you can have specific ones if you need it, as create diagnosis-specific ones. Consents, they're there. The vaccines that the CDC has for the vaccine information statements are required by federal law, so have them linked in there. Why go to the trouble of having them out there and around, and just printing them on demand instead of photocopying? Because if you think about it, printing by laser is cheaper than photocopying. And you have general and specific ones too with regard to vaccines. And of course the miscellaneous things, one of the things that patients always complain about are their insurance companies. Well, I heard it so many times that I thought, let's pull it from the Virginia Bureau of Insurance, their complaint form. I linked it in to our knowledge base, and anytime they start complaining, I print it out and say, here, I empower you to complain. And that way they can do something about it. Contact management. Why the heck keep a list of contacts from a medical center when they have a find a doctor page and you can go looking for the doctor by specialty and then you print it out. And what you can do is when you print it out, you give the patient, sometimes with a picture of the doctor and where they're from, you're actually bonding the patient to that doctor. And then you have print another page, the same page, give it to the staff, and they have all the contact numbers. They don't have to look it up. It's worth that 3-cent piece of paper to speed things up through the office.